If you grew up believing that your worth was measured by your output, I need you to hear this. Overworking and overgiving in your relationships are stemming from the same problem. It's just the same wound expressing itself in different areas of your life. I'm Kat. I help very kind, generous, and ambitious women, whether you know that's you yet or not, connect with their truth and rebuild self-trust and build a life that they are genuinely ecstatic to be living every single day. You know the pattern, and it's a sneaky one. Right? If you were raised by parents who showed you that the only way to make money was to grind yourself to the bone, that's the imprinting that you're beginning with. If you were shown that the only way to receive love was to sacrifice yourself, to compromise your needs, to basically live your life for someone else's peace, satisfaction, joy, okay? If you're the type of person who, when the second that something goes quiet, work slows down, a message doesn't come, a project pauses, there's this immediate spiral of, I'm not doing enough. Even when nothing is actually wrong. This isn't ambition, it's overdrive. It's in that gap that your nervous system registers an unfamiliar space, and it confuses that gap of rest with falling behind. Maybe there's more I should be doing. Because you're kind and generous, it often shows up as guilt, right? The moment you're not producing or giving, like rest has to be earned. Overworking to prove your worth and overgiving in a relationship to prove you're lovable. They drink from the same cup. They come from the same root. Okay, this might be where you're grinding 12 hours to finish a project, skipping your lunch, or you'll also end up staying up late till 1 a.m. helping someone else manage their feelings at the expense of your own sleep. Okay, but then you keep on going down this pathway, hoping that they're going to recognize the expenditure that you are giving, only to someday wake up and realize it's not feeling good. And maybe you don't understand why it's not feeling good. Or maybe you're feeling bitterness and resentment that your overgiving is not being reciprocated or even recognized. Where the real core here is self-abandonment in hopes that you're going to receive finally the love you have worked so hard to earn your entire life, right? Overworking and overgiving drink from the same cup. Like, why does this happen? To put it simply, doing becomes a way to regulate when rest feels unsafe. And I could give you my own personal experiences of rest being unsafe, but I'm sure you have your own too. I'd be curious to know what they are. By striving, by achieving, continuously meeting that next goal line, proving you're worthy, proving you are indispensable. All of that gives a sense of control. And if I make myself indispensable to somebody, they can never leave me. And I know there's a piece here around discipline, right? But when it comes to discipline without self-love, self-care, self-trust is just force, right? So maybe it's not a discipline problem. Maybe it's actually a self-trust challenge. The woman who doesn't trust that she is worthy of rest until she's earned it. Even the woman who doesn't trust that she's doing things right. Yeah, or maybe who doesn't trust that she'll get things done. Maybe that's a story that was passed on to you. I wonder how many stories were passed on that you keep telling yourself. What's the cost to you? What is the actual cost when you overgive, when you overwork yourself, right? Burnout. What is burnout? How does burnout help support the growth of your business, of your job, of your relationship? Resentment, disconnection from your actual joy. That's big. feeling like a machine instead of a person. Repetition in a cycle that you don't know how to get out of. And you keep wondering why you keep attracting the same partners, the same business opportunities, the same bosses. Because the moment that you decided to overgive, you betrayed your own needs for the benefit of someone else. Of course you would feel this way. Of course you would feel these feelings. So here's what I'm going to tell you. And it's going to be probably the most challenging thing that you've ever done. In the moments when you are feeling like the pressure to you got to do something, you got to fill that moment of quiet, I want you to just take a breath. And I want you to actually take 10 breaths. And I want you to take them slow. And if you're already at a place of taking breaths, I want you to really sink into the opportunity that you're being given to rest, to reset, to nourish yourself and fill your own cup. Because when you fill your own cup, your giving overflows naturally from that point. And so I want to give you one question to ask in those moments when you're feeling the pressure to do something, to say something. Am I doing this because I want to, or because I'm afraid of what happens if I don't, if I stop? Let me give you one more action point. I want you to schedule yourself into your week, okay? You can start with something small. Maybe it's 30 minutes. Maybe it's a whole hour. A whole hour this week. Schedule yourself in. And I want you to do something just for you. Maybe it's a bath. Maybe it's a hike. Maybe it's a dance class. Maybe it's just taking a nap. Maybe it's resting under the trees. Something that fills your cup and brings you joy. And just notice. Notice what comes up in that moment, in that hour. I bring this forward because I went through another layer of this past week. I've had such momentum happening with clients rolling in, increase in monthly income, steadiness, security, stability. And there was a quiet moment. There was a lull. And I'm just going to share with you how perfect, how divinely perfect these moments are orchestrated to your benefit. You have to believe that. I wasn't getting any more client inquiries. And I can go into that place of like, oh no, am I not doing something correct? Am I not doing enough? Am I blocking my own flow? Maybe I need to be reaching out. And there's kind of this energy of like grasping, right? There's a bit of desperation in that. There's a lack of trust that what I need isn't going to come in because I didn't do something. But what I was being asked to do was to rest, right? To draw back inward after this huge influx, to integrate how necessary it is for the rest cycle, for the integration cycle. And what came of that? I started my period. And that's a time where as women, we really do need rest. To be so intimate with ourselves in that way that we know what we need and we give it to ourselves, right? And I've found that if I don't have the awareness, I just trust that life is orchestrating it exactly as I need it. And that was evident. I didn't know why things were going quiet, but then once I started my bleed, I was like, here we are. This is why. Because I need to rest. You look out in nature, like Mother Nature needs cycles of rest. Flowers are not always blooming. Fruit is not always ripe. We have seasons for a reason. Okay? You want to know what changed in my life after realizing and putting into practice that rest no longer has to be earned, but it's actually at the forefront? My income increased. Better quality men and overall connections have entered into my life. My businesses are booming, always getting better and better. I'm getting rave reviews. You want to know why? Because rest is going to it feeds you. Rest increases your magnetism. What you're saying to yourself in the moment when you give yourself rest is that I don't have to earn my peace. My peace comes first. And so when you are choosing rest over the pressure to go out and hustle and make some extra money, when you choose to rest over pushing yourself into the kitchen to get dinner made for your family, when you choose to rest over giving somebody your time, energy, and attention when you don't really want to, when it doesn't really feel good, it is affirming to yourself. It is somatically rewiring your nervous system to trust, to the vibration of peace, to the knowing that your well-being is the source to which all of your fruits spring forth. There can be no other way. Overworking and overgiving drink from the same cup. And you really get to decide to be done with that pattern. Do you grow up believing that rest has to be earned? Tell me below.